the country's not about anything other than money. I mean, we just abandon every value other than profit maximization and the bottom line.
That's what people need to understand about all this woke shit.
Yes.
It's really not about changing culture.
Yeah, it's about money. I mean,
It's about power.
I was just looking. It's funny. There's a big article in the New York Times today about inside an Amazon warehouse, right? And Amazon was the first to say Black Lives Matter and put that banner up on their page and everything. And look, I support a lot of goals of that movement. But you read through this article and you find out, first of all, the way they treat their largely black and brown warehouse workers, I mean, it's despicable. They intentionally make sure they cannot move up the ladder. That's part of their business policy is if you're an hourly worker, you're not going to get promoted. And they try to force you out after 3 years because they think you're getting lazy. So this is the company that can, on the surface level, say Black Lives Matter because they think that's good for their profit maximization and their brand and their shareholder value. At the same time, what they're actually doing in real life, wildly different than that. So
I thought the whole thing about Amazon was that you could move up the ladder.
Nope. They intentionally have a system because Bezos said he believes that these human beings are lazy and that after, that they're going to do the bare minimum.
He was quoted saying this? Bezos was quoted saying they're lazy?
I'll find
or Jamie, if you can fold it.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between lazy and having a shitty job.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly people need to understand that.
When you're abused, you're treated like a robot and a cog day in and day out. You're fired. Yeah. Like, if you are a little bit slow on your tasks, you might get fired by a freaking app. Like, that's how dehumanizing it is.
Let's explain to people who don't understand how it works over there. Does anybody want to explain?
Yeah, I mean, they work in the right. So they have phones that are on there. Everything's tracking your movements, steps, bathroom breaks as well. So the warehouses are also very large. So let's say you technically have a 20-minute break. It might take you 10 minutes to actually walk to the break room and back. So you actually have, like a 2-minute break while you're in there. And the whole thing around Amazon and why everyone should care is because Amazon, under the pandemic, exploded. Their stock price went up from, I think, 1,000 or so to a couple 3,000. Bezos personally, his wealth increased by $70 billion. Amazon is now the second largest employer in the United States. And this is incredibly important because as more Amazon market adoption happens, they are basically going to become the employer of choice. Whatever your grocery store or whatever was in your small town, these are the rural working class Americans. This is their only job. So when you have one company which has all of this overwhelming power over rural working Americans and even suburban Americans, because this is Amazon's strategy. Dayton, Ohio is a good example. Alec McGillis, he wrote a great book on Amazon, shout out to him, talked about how Dayton was like this Silicon Valley of America in the 1900s, manufacturing, middle-class jobs. Now, Dayton's prized economic value comes from the fact that it's 1 day's drive from 1/3 of the U.S. population. So it's a great place for cardboard. So everybody there is all just involved in creating cardboard and other Amazon infrastructure. So the Amazonification, so to speak, or whatever, of America makes it so that if, let's say 30 years ago, you grew up in your town, you may have to go to Walmart, H-E-B, we're here, I grew up here in Texas, Kroger as well, McDonald's, something like that. Now it's basically like McDonald's, Dairy Queen, and Amazon. And when Amazon is the prime market employer, they are the sole determiner of market conditions, increasingly. So it's Walmart and Amazon, which are number two. And we're talking about millions of people who are now working at this company. So people are like, why do you guys talk so much about Amazon? Because I can see the trends. This company's not going anywhere. Look, props to them. Like, I love Amazon. Like, I order a lot of stuff on Amazon. But increasingly becoming aware of the price of what it takes to do overnight delivery to your house at 4 a.m. in the morning, or increasingly becoming aware of the fact that they are basically on this mission to drive price down as much as possible and squeeze as much out of their workforce, that is where it's trouble. What was the furniture thing that we just covered?
Yeah.
This was crazy.
Well, and did you see their delivery drivers are so like the demands are so intense, they're having to pee in bottles and shit in bags.
Right. And they admitted
shit in bags?
Literally.
Yeah,
that's where I draw the line. I don't really care if a guy has to pee in a bottle, but if a gal has to pee in like a dog bowl,
right, that's
I'm like,
bad.
this seems
wrong.
And this